When I decided to become a data scientist, I didn't have anyone around me who was going through the same journey. And also, I couldn't really find so many people that could help me with the thing that I wanted to get. So what I did was that I thought, like, what do I have? The thing that I really had was the internet, right? Throughout the internet, I could search and find the resources that could really help me. Things like books. One of the books that I found the most useful and helpful was Pragmatic Learning and Thinking. Actually, it's Thinking and Learning. Well, what this book actually tells us is how to learn a skill, especially if you're a knowledge worker. And the first time that I read this book, I thought like this is like the complete recipe for becoming an expert in a field. But because it had too many like learning tips and amazing new concepts, I thought like maybe it's good to summarize it and also give you guys a little bit of how you can apply it in your own field too. But before we get started, just make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and share it with your friends if it's helpful. But without further ado, let's get started. In order to become a professional, smart-ass knowledge worker, we have to go through a journey. And this is a journey that starts from the bottom and levels up as we learn from our experiences. So first we have to understand where we are now. We want to use a model that was developed by two people, actually two brothers, called Hubert and Stuart, who wanted to advance the artificial intelligence and teach computers how to learn and attain new skills like humans. So they came up with a model that had 5 different stages. During their research, they found that quite a bit changes when someone starts from the bottom and gains more experience over time. When you're a novice, you need context-free rules and recipes. You need to know exactly what tool to use and when to use it. And you probably get easily upset when you don't immediately succeed and think you were never meant to be a programmer. And how on earth does that 16-year-old boy can understand this and I can't? And then you go to the kitchen and have a delicious pie right after to feel better. But experts, on the other hand, have intuitions and, for example, can decide what to do next in the next stage of the project. They know and have intuitions about the bugs or problems that they see in the whole project, but sometimes it can be hard for them to articulate what they have in their minds. In another way of saying, experts see forests and novices see trees. They're more focused on the details and also they're trying to understand rules as best as they can. And between these two ends of the spectrum, there are 3 other stages too, like the advanced beginner, competent, and proficient. In these stages, as you move up from the novice stage, you begin breaking free from the rules and do research on your own and become more resourceful and also involved in the projects. And you begin to see the bigger picture and have that intuition that experts have. But unfortunately, so many people don't pass the level of advanced beginner because in their jobs, they usually don't do anything new and perform the same tasks over and over again, unless the need arises. But if you want to become an expert, there are certain rules and also ways that you can follow and use along the way. The first thing is that you have to have the budget of about 10 years of effort. And this effort is not just sitting behind the desk, looking at the screen and choking on your own drool from the mundane everyday task. But what you need to do is something called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is a well-defined, challenging enough, informative task that you can perform and get feedback from. You have to do this type of practice steadily for 10 years and you got it made. But I know it's a lot of work, but as Andrew Ng, one of the biggest minds of AI, says, the most important thing is to keep learning, not just for a few months, but for years. Like every Saturday, you have a choice between staying at home and reading papers, or watching TV and chilling. Well, if you do it for just one Saturday, you won't get any short-term reward. But the secret is, if you do it not just for one weekend, but instead study consistently for about a year, you will become eventually very good. And interestingly, another reward of this type of practice is that after becoming an expert in one field, you've developed those skill acquisition techniques and also modeling and learning techniques that becoming expert in one another field gets so much easier. And remember, once you become an expert, you can let go a little bit of the rules and recipes, and you can have your intuition and do the things that you did previously so much faster. Well, right now we want to become an expert, we want to put in the effort and time. But how do we actually learn? How do we consume information and gain those skills? Well, firstly, our brain is not a mechanical device, but it is a strangely complicated lump of meat with two different kinds of processing. In the book, the two different sides have the names of L mode, the linear mode, or R mode, the rich mode. The L mode is the logical and verbal side of the mind that has that kind of ability to make that little voice and chatter in your mind whenever you're talking to yourself or you're trying to analyze a problem rationally. But the R mode is the non-verbal and a little bit artistic part of our brains that works like a pattern matching engine or a regular expression search even. In fact, when you're trying to solve a problem, the R mode process will search all the memories for a match that might aid in the solution. But unfortunately, as the work gets more rational and involves more logic, we tend to ignore that side of our brain, even though it is the one thing that we really need to gain intuition and expertise in one field. There are quite a few activities that can help your mind develop its R mode, like walking, listening to music, drawing, meditation, rock climbing, and so on. And what happens when you go out for a walk is that your verbal side, actually the L mode, will turn down and let the R mode do the job of searching and connecting patterns. It actually gets it a little bit involved into something a little bit more routine and lets the R mode do its work. But just keep in mind that you cannot force or command your mind to find the solution to that problem. Just try to relax and bear in mind that you have a specific problem or bug that needs to be fixed. But you may think that walking is a little bit boring, and it's right, you can try out a whole different thing and see if it works. Like for me, it's drawing that can shift the processes in my mind. Even when I don't have a canvas, I'll always find a wall to draw on. And hopefully my mom doesn't know that I have a YouTube channel, so I can safely show you what happened one night after I had a pretty big problem in my code. But hopefully I could work it out. Okay, so aside from how cool our minds are, we have to consider that it has also some very big issues. Some examples are like when we make something too big, that the fear of it is even bigger than the thing itself. Or when we fixate on one problem and become perfectionists and don't want to even finish the thing that we started because we think that we're not good enough. In the book, Andy Hunt mentioned a variety of different tendencies and bugs, but I found the need for closure and lizard logic the most interesting and important. But you can read about the other ones in the Medium article that I will be linking in the description below. Well, the first thing was the need for closure. Well, it is something that drives us to eliminate any uncertainty. We want to make a decision, get a result as soon as possible. Although when you're in a project, you're in your peak of intelligence, at the very end of it, and you probably are learning even a little small detail by working on it every day. And all these small details together will accumulate in order to give you the expertise you need in your own field. So when you want to learn an algorithm, it's okay to not know every single mathematical detail from the beginning. First, just get the intuition, and then you can slowly work your way into the details to get to the main understanding. Well, the second one, it's lizard logic. For lizard logic, we first have to consider that we're all animals, right? And we have our instincts. When we see a bug in the code, our boss is angry with us, the pressure is coming from our family, the economy is awful, or whatever. We suddenly have the urge to fight, flight, or fright. We either panic and freeze, or vent our anger on our computer, or just flight away toward the kitchen to calm ourselves with delicious foods. This logic also includes instant gratification that comes from checking our emails or PMs instead of working, because it's just easily more exciting. So the solution to all these urges is that when you have this kind of pressure, it's better to breathe firstly and even take a step back from your keyboard, because research shows that the more panicked and stressed you are, the less likely it is to be creative and be able to use your R mode. When you're trying to calm your mind, there are a series of things that can be very helpful, like meditation for even 3 to 5 minutes a day. But just bear in mind that the first few days, even weeks, can be very exhausting. But trust me, it gives you the awareness that you need to not repeat something over and over. Lastly, remember to have fun with the thing that you're doing, because it'll reduce the pressure and free up the space in your mind for new cool ideas. So that was it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And I'm really grateful for you watching my channel. If you liked it, please tell me in the comments down below. If you didn't, please tell me what I can do to make it better. But in general, yeah, that's it. I hope I'll see you next time, and be safe.